They spent a week on the sauce as they partied it up in Tenerife, but if the Tynecastle showing suggested anything, it is that the hangover is yet to kick in. A goal down to a Kyle Lafferty strike and counting something of fortuitous wrong call from referee Bobby Madden, who had chopped off the Hearts goal just before the opener. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, claimed Craig Levein afterwards. Celtic roused themselves from their post-party slumber and doused the Tynecastle side with a sobering cold water blast. They finished the game 3-1 to the good with goals from Dedryck Boyata, Moussa Dembele and Scott Sinclair, who claimed his 18th of the season, but his first goal since January, to take them into the final week of the league campaign. Levein's side hadn't lost a game on their own turf since returning from their stint at Murrayfield as reconstruction work took place in the stadium, 14 games in all. But from the moment Boyata bulleted a header to draw Celtic level, the Parkhead side seemed to flex their muscles to brush off the early promise of the Georgie side. There was a guard of honor from Craig Levein's side in recognition of the title Celtic secured last weekend, but that was effectively where the goodwill stopped. The opening period was niggly and tempestuous, with Steven Naismith in particular fortunate to escape censure for two incidents which could easily have been penalised. James Forrest, who has clocked up more games than any other Celt this season and is leading the charge for the player with the most game time in Europe this term, kept his place and was in a running battle throughout on his flank. He was the recipient of one over-the-ball lunge on his ankle from Naismith, an incident that came hard on the heels of a stamp on Scott Brown's calf. As the game went on, Michael Lustig, grounded, felt the full force of Naismith banjoing the ball into his head. Tynecastle, packed and on top of the players, fed off the testy atmosphere on the pitch. Hearts thought they had taken first blood when they seemed to have bundled the ball into the net, with John Souttar claiming the last touch. However, the whistle had already gone, with Ross Callachan penalised for an infringement on push on Bain that seemed soft at best. It seemed like a let-off for Celtic, but they failed to take heed and the flashpoint proved to be a stay of execution. Within minutes, Lafferty had sunk a ferocious effort past the exposed Celtic keeper to give the Tynecastle side the lead. Lewis Moore had put the striker through and Lafferty gave Bain little chance as he blasted the ball high into the net. His celebrations reflected the simmering nature of the contest in that opening 45-minute period, with his salute to the visiting support drawing a predictable response. The lead, though, did not last. Boyata drew the visitors' levels with a powerful header from Olivier Ntcham's free kick after the Hearts' defence slipped, with Brown. Brendan Rodgers started with both Moussa Dembele and Odsonne Edouard, with the latter deployed just to the left-hand side just behind his fellow countrymen. Lustig was key to Celtic establishing a lead for the first time in the game shortly after the break. His determination to win the ball saw him nick it off Moore before flicking it onto Tom Rodgers. The Australian midfielder dinked a fine pass with the outside of his boot towards the far post, where Moussa Dembele's finish equal to the initial pass. From there on in, the game effectively belonged to Celtic. Forrest came close to adding to their lead with a raking effort that went just wide of the post, while Rodgers too almost added a third while knowing very little about it. An attempted clearance from Christophe Barra cannoned off the midfielder before clipping the post. Celtic rang the changes as the game progressed, with Scott Sinclair taking over from Edouard, who took a knock, while Stuart Armstrong also made his first appearance in over a month. In the final stages, Hearts threw everything forward as they looked to nick a leveller. However, as they pushed forward, there were holes, inevitably, left at the back. Stuart Armstrong scorned a chance to put the game to bed when he was put through by substitute Patrick Roberts, only to finish with a tame effort, but he atoned for that just minutes later. Setting up Sinclair, he ensured that there would be no late revival from the hosts, who were down and out by then. Celtic will host Kilmarnock on Wednesday night before bringing the curtain down on their league campaign against Aberdeen on Sunday, as all focus now goes towards the William Hill Scottish Cup final. The evidence from this weekend would suggest there will be little let-up.